Hello and greetings from the Isle of Wight in England to everybody in Germany. Thanks for asking me to say a few words. I understand that it's a multifaceted conference with many different subjects, but that just before I'm saying this, the theme has been about consciousness. And that kind of suits me because I'm a connector of dots. I've been doing it now for 25 years. And if you don't connect the dots, you can't see the picture. And if you don't connect the dots, you can't see a credible answer to that which we'd rather like to change. I write and talk about global conspiracies, in fact, a global conspiracy with multiple expressions and strands. And I talk about the non-human influence of human society and a great swathe of subjects. But the bottom line of all of it is consciousness and becoming conscious. Becoming conscious beyond mind. I see body-mind as a vehicle for consciousness awareness to experience this tiny band of frequency that we call the world, that we daily experience. The breadth of that frequency band, which is called visible light, is so ludicrously narrow, myopic, compared with what even mainstream science says exists in mass matter and all these other things. But it's even smaller by the real comparison between what we can see and what exists, which is infinity. And the conspiracy to enslave humanity in an ever more blatant, centralized, global, fascist, dystopian dictatorship can seem complex. It can seem bewildering. But it can, I would say, be brought down to something very simple. We are awareness, the state of being aware. The body is the vehicle for that awareness to experience this tiny band of frequencies. Because I couldn't pick things up, none of us could pick things up with our awareness, because it's not in frequency sync with that world that we're interacting with. So we express ourselves through a vehicle which is in sync with that band of frequency. And we are awareness. But then the question is, but how aware awareness? You can be the infinite awareness in awareness of itself, in awareness that is infinite. Or you can be awareness that thinks its name, its life story, its race, its country, its religion. And that is the way so much human awareness sees itself. These labels, these races, these names, these countries, these life stories are experiences. They're not who we are. They're experiences. They're what who we are is experiencing. And so to get the conspiracy down to its foundation form, I would say it is this. It is to take potentially infinite awareness and so focus its attention on the five sense reality that that awareness believes that what it is experiencing is what it is. And by that scam, by that cradle to grave manipulation of perception of self, and from perception of self, perception of the world, comes billions of people who believe that their experience and their labels are who they are. And what does that do? It means, for a start, that we perceive ourselves as isolated labels, isolated from all the other labels. So already we are diminishing our sense of self colossally from infinite awareness to I am Ethel or Hans. And in doing so, what does that mean? Well, it means many, many things in relation to the conspiracy. It means that perception labels can then be played off against other perception labels in the crucial technique of the few controlling the many. And that is divide and rule. So you can play this label off against that label, and you can set them to war with each other. You can set them in competition with each other. Not cooperation, competition. And you can start hierarchies of labels, where you have the queen label ruling over the subject label. And so it goes on. And of course, what that state of being does is perceive everything in terms of limitation, in terms of I can't. Because when you look at the world from the point of view of individual isolation covered in labels, all you can see is limitation. Limitation of possibility, limitation of potential, limitation of choice. And when you then isolate awareness and focus its attention within the five senses, in effect, in terms of conscious perception, you disconnect that hijacked perception of reality, that label, from its infinite self in terms of influence of perception. And once you've done that, and of course it's been done on a global scale, you can then program that isolated awareness through your institutions of perception programming, called parents who've been through that programming themselves and thus become agents of the program, through what we bravely call education, which is just a programming system, programming isolated awareness with a certain perception of everything, through schools, through colleges and universities. You program them through the media, which is constantly underpinning and confirming that what the education system told you and what the parental influence told you is true. All around you, you've got everyone else who's been through this program and bought this program, downloaded this program, and they're confirming that what the program says is true. And so, from cradle to grave, all most people hear, see, perceive is the program. Is it any surprise, therefore, that they believe it's real? The program is so powerful if you concede your perceptions to it, that we can live an entire human lifetime in a holographic, energetic, information decoding illusion, while believing that we live in a solid world with solid laws of what? Limitation. And so the institutions of politics and media and medicine, science, all of them, corporations, are founded on the fact that A, the world is solid when it's not. How can you understand anything when you don't even understand your own reality? And founded on the fact that everybody's experience and everybody's label is who they really are. And therefore, humanity in general lives in an illusory, fake perception of everything. And the irony is, because, you look at this world and everything's inverted. You want to find the truth about anything. It doesn't happen this way every time, but far, far more than when it doesn't happen. If you're looking for the truth of anything, then invert what the official truth is, and you'll be either at or very close to what the real truth is. It's all inverted. And one major inversion, which I've experienced for the last quarter of a century, is that when you challenge the illusion and question the illusion and expose the illusion, when you say the sort of things I'm saying now, then those consumed and with their perceptions controlled by the illusion, the program, they think you're mad, they think you're crazy. And it's like you are born into a madhouse and you grow up in the madhouse and all you know is the madhouse. You've had no exposure to anything, no information, no experience that is not within the madhouse. What happens is you take the madhouse to be normal. So when someone comes along who has accessed something outside the madhouse and realized it's a madhouse, then your perception of them from within the madhouse is that they're mad, because what they're saying is not your normal. And normal is not truth. Normal is accepted, experienced reality. Normal is a belief in normal and what is normal. So whenever we are talking about solutions, to the world as it is and people as they are. The bottom line, beyond which nothing can change, is that we need a fundamental change, the inversion, re-evaluation and perception of self. To realize that we are infinite awareness having an experience who have become caught in the illusion of the experience and been systematically manipulated to do so. But the real us is simple awareness. And if people put aside all preconceived idea, which is overwhelmingly programming, all preconceived belief, whether it's religious or political or nature of reality based, and just start again with no censorship when information and intuition takes you in directions that challenge your previously preconceived ideas and beliefs. Just go with it. And what you're doing is you're freeing your mind from the program by letting your mind resync with infinite awareness and thus start influencing your point of observation, your point of attention. Not, of course, to remove it from the five senses, but to expand it from the five senses, so that we are in this world in terms of perceiving the so-called physical level and interacting with it. But we're not of this world in terms of our point of observation. So self-identity ceases to be I am David Icke and becomes I am infinite awareness having an experience called David Icke. And it's a completely different way of perceiving self. And I can tell you from experience, anyone who's not been down that road yet, that it triggers a sometimes at first slow, but ever quickening re-evaluation of everything. Because once you allow your awareness to expand its perceptions and its attention beyond this reality, you go into a place where you are, in terms of your expanded awareness, you are observing this reality from a reality that's beyond this one. So suddenly, it becomes obvious we live in a bloody madhouse. And normal is madness, which you couldn't see if you were only in the madhouse and that's your only point of access to information and perception and insight. So this is the revolution for me. A revolution not of violence, not of fighting, but of perception. A revolution of perception of self, and from that comes a revolution of perception of everything else. And that is the revolution. Any other is people just kidding themselves. Because any revolution that is not based on an expansion of awareness will produce the same as what was there before. the revolution. It'll just have a different name and different personnel, but it will be the same Madhouse. So that's, for me, where we need to go. Yes, exposing the conspiracy. Yes, doing the names, dates, places level of it. Yes, investigating many other things like the non-human connection to this manipulation. I do all that. But bottom line is we have got into this world and into this mess because we have been manipulated out of what I would call consciousness and into mind. And you can find a solution to a problem, or you can remove the cause of the problem. I prefer the latter because it's the only one that usually works. And removing the cause of this problem is ceasing to be dominated by mind and getting back to consciousness, to expanded awareness. From that, not only can everything change, everything must change. Have a great conference, and I'm going on a world speaking tour next year, which will include Germany. In fact, there is a theatre in Berlin that was booked for me to appear there, and then they cancelled the booking. Was it something I said? I hope so. But we'll find another, and details will be on my website. Maybe I can see some of you then. Great. Have a great conference. Bye.